reporting. Yes, sir.
Yes. Move out.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Medic reporting. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Affirmative. 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 Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Affirmative. Moving out. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Affirmative. Moving out. Affirmative. Affirmative. Moving out. Moving out. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Moving out. Moving out. Moving out. Moving out. Medic reporting. Medic reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Moving out. Affirmative. Medic reporting.
Commander? Of course.
Medic reporting. Affirmative. Moving out. Moving out.
Unit firepower upgraded.
Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Affirmative. Affirmative. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Commander? Move out. Of course. Of course. Move out. Of course. Of course. Of course. Commander? Move out. Of course. Of course. Of course.
Medic moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. 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 Moving out. Affirmative. Affirmative. Moving out.
Reinforcements
Affirmative.
have arrived.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Affirmative. Moving out. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Moving out.
Yes. Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course.
Medic reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Medic reporting. Affirmative. Medic reporting out. Yes, sir.
Commander? Of course. Of course.
Medic reporting. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Affirmative. 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 Moving out. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Moving out. Yes, sir.
Yes. Of course.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Moving out. Moving out.
Unit armor
Moving out.
upgraded.
Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Affirmative. 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 Moving out. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Yes, sir. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out.
Commander? Of course. Move out. Yes. Of course. Of course. Commander. Move out. Move out. Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. Move out. Yes. Move out. Of course. Of course.
Medic report. Affirmative. Moving out.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Commander. Move out. Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. Move out. Yes.
Medic reporting. Affirmative. Moving out. Medic affirmative. Moving out. Affirmative now. Affirmative. Medic reporting. Affirmative. Moving out. Affirmative. Affirmative. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out.
Commander. Of course.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes. Of course. Move out. Of course.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes. Of course. Of course. Move out. Of course. Of course. Commander. Move out. Move out. Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. Move out. Of course. Of course. Move out. Commander. Of course. Of course. Of course. Move out.
Medic moving out.
Yes. Of course. Move out. Move out. Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Commander. Of course. Of course. Of course. Move out.
Medic moving out.
Yes. Move out. Move out. Commander. Commander. Move out. Of course. Move out. Of course. Move out. Move out. Of course.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Reporting. Affirmative. Very well. At once. Affirmative. Very well. At once. Very well. Affirmative. Affirmative. Very well. At once. Yes, sir. Agreed. Acknowledged. Very well. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Waiting affirmative. 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 Knowledge. Affirmative. Knowledge. Affirmative. 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 Knowledge. Affirmative.
Ready and waiting.
Yes, sir. Agreed. Very well. Yes, sir. Knowledge. Knowledge. Ready and waiting. At once. Yes, sir.
Ready and waiting.
At once.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Very well. Yes, sir. Of
Unit
course.
lost.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Vehicle report knowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge. 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 Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledge. 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 Ready and waiting. Affirmative. 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 Very well.
Unit
Very
armor
well.
upgraded.
Affirmative. Very well. Affirmative. Very well. At once. Very well. Yes, sir. Agreed. Agreed. At once. At once. Of course. Very well. Agreed. Very well. Yes, sir. Of course. Affirmative. Very well. Affirmative. Very well. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Very well.
Unit firepower.
Affirmative.
upgraded.
At once. Affirmative. At once. At once. Reporting. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Reporting. Affirmative.
Mission accomplished.